I grew up in Cheviot, so I'm a West Sider. Have been all my life, and we were in a very typical neighborhood. Kids went out and played in the street. Didn't have to worry about cars coming up and down the street. Nobody had. If they had one car, that was surprising. Much of us two. And my parents brought me up Catholic. I went to Catholic schools through grade school and high school, and so I was sprinkled as a child. And faith was very important to them, and it was with my extended family as well. And so the people around us were pretty much all the same. The kids were about the same age, went to the same school or close to the same school. And sports was always a big deal. Being outside, going to the Cheviot Field House and playing baseball, home run derby across the grandstand, playing basketball at the courts that used to be up there. We were always outside because it was cooler outside. We didn't have air conditioning. So the way to get cool, especially in the evenings, was to be outside as the sun went down.
Yeah.
And in fact, we always had to be home by the time the street lights came on. That was the indicator. And became married and became divorced. And that was a tough time to go through. So as a result of that, became separated from the Catholic Church and was looking for a church. And Pam and I were not married at the time. And when things obviously began to get serious with the two of us, we decided that we needed to really hone in on a spiritual foundation in our lives because we didn't have one at the time. And so we popped into Westwood Cheviot one morning, and Jake Wendling's grandfather greeted us at the door, Norb, shook our hands, welcomed us, and I said to Pam, I said, well, this isn't going to continue to happen. And sure enough, virtually every Sunday, Norb or someone else was at that door welcoming me and welcoming her. And it really changed my life because I had no idea what a personal relationship with Jesus Christ was. I knew who Jesus Christ was. I knew who God the Father was and the Holy Spirit, but I had never experienced a relationship with Him. It was a religion. And so as I began to learn from the messages, from the examples set by the people, from discussions, from participating in groups, light bulb came on. And I discovered this quality that I never had in my life before. And so we, ever since then, have become more active, served in many capacities. And I was asked to be an elder, and I said no. And I was asked to be an elder a second time, and I said no.
Why did you say no?
I said no because I didn't feel I was qualified. I looked at the guys who were elders, and they were heroes at Westwood Cheviot, and I thought, my goodness, I don't have anything to add to that group. In fact, I've joked over the years that I believe a main reason why I was asked to be an elder was because there were more people leaving the church at that time than there were coming in. So I was kind of unique. And so I was asked, and finally, Jack Leisler and Bob Hastings called me and said, we want to meet with you up here in the fellowship hall. And I thought, okay, they didn't say why. And I got off the phone and I said to Pam, I said, Jack Leisler and Bob Hastings want to meet with me. And she said, what did you do? And I said, I have no idea. So I went up there and we met, and they pretty much said, we want you to be an elder. And out of respect for them, I said, okay. And so that began that process. That was about 12 or 13 years ago. And I was either the youngest or the second youngest elder at that time. So as we talk about succession and transition, the elders would be going through a transition plan as well. Now I'm the oldest elder, and that's an interesting function in my life right now, being the oldest guy there. But I have been blessed, Pam has been blessed with watching what God has done through David and Donna, others in this church as we made the move from Westwood Cheviot down to Whitewater Crossing. and so many opportunities for so many people, lives changed. I remember praying for people before phase one was built, and I've mentioned this over several occasions, praying for people we didn't know who would come, that God would send us. And in my small group right now, there are 16 people. 14 are people we prayed for. They were not a part of that move. And the growth has been astounding, but the blessings on people's lives and the saving of lost souls that God has done through that time has just been astounding. And whenever I see a baptism, whenever I see a testimony, I get goosebumps because I've been blessed to have been a part of that. I think one of the greatest joys of my life is being a parent and a grandparent. You can't prepare yourself for that. The emotion that you're going to experience and the happiness you're going to have, and certainly there are down times and up times, but overall, that's just a legacy issue that is really important to me. And so I would have to say the grandchildren and the children, and still having opportunities to visit them and be a part of their lives, that's as good as it gets. One of the more challenging times in my life, back in December of 2019, I was diagnosed with cancer. That's not a fun time for anybody, for Pam, for the rest of the family, for friends. But there's some real positives that God created through this process. And my friends, almost all of them are Catholic or non-practicing cultural Catholics. They watch me very closely to see how I dealt with that. And it was one of those deals where I didn't have control. And I needed to recognize early on that I didn't have control. So I would just pray every day, please give me what I need to go through this, whether it was chemotherapy or immunotherapy or pain or whatever it was. Just give me what I need to get through it, and may it be for your glory and for the growth of your kingdom. And he did that. And he did that through members of my small group who prayed and came over here and helped out during a time where physically I wasn't capable of doing some things. Members of the congregation, I know there were so many people who were praying for me that I don't even know were praying for me, and how appreciative I was of that. And then when I was declared about a year ago to be in partial remission, now my prayer every day is use my cancer, use the remission you've given me, and make that be for your glory and the growth of your kingdom. So I've changed that prayer a little bit, but I needed to. And then he has opened doors and given me a forum to reach people that I never had before the cancer diagnosis. So it's been a positive, not fun, but a positive. You had mentioned difficulties being an elder or challenges. One of those started at the very beginning when we moved down to 128. We were not prepared for the growth that happened. We were a church of 400 people, 450 people, who became a church of over 1,000 people within a couple weeks. And we were not strategically prepared for that. So that presented challenges that we really needed to look at. And since that time, there have been these benchmarks or milestones of growth that brought with them additional challenges. So if you want me to hit on that, if I haven't already done
I was
it.
going to say, you just did it. You just hit on it.
I think you just did. Yeah.